It's been a while since I've played Sword and Shield. I put a lot of hours into the game the first time around, and in true me fashion, kinda just stopped playing. I've done a couple of these challenge videos before, and they're always really fun to do, so I decided, hey, why not try some on Sword and Shield? I'm sure by the title and thumbnail you already know the vibes of this video, but we're going to be taking on the Galar region with just a Marshadow. Now, before you make an assumption that this is going to be easy, I'd have to disagree. My original prediction is that the beginning is essentially going to be a cinch, but I'll have some issues late game. I also added some additional rules for myself to make it a bit more challenging. I don't plan on taking anyone on except for mandatory trainers and of course the gym leaders. I adhered to that pretty much the entire game and often went into gyms underleveled. But without giving too much away, let's just jump right into the action.
Rolling, I can never get enough. I've been up too long and I way too drunk, but we straight up in it and we.
So, of course, what better way to kick this off than to start off with a Marshadow? I went hacker mode and swapped out Grookey with Marshadow, so that was a thing that happened. I wanted to beat the game without having a single additional Pokemon, so after picking up our initial out of the box, no batteries included Marshadow, we see that it's got the ability Technician, which plays a big role in some of my later move choices. Moving on from that, it started out with the moves Shadow Sneak, Feint, Counter, and Copycat. It also had a rash nature, which doesn't really help us at all, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Anyways, from here we do boring story stuff until I get access to the Pokemon Center. So naturally the first thing I do is name our new friend. And what do I go with? What does this creative genius choose? Fisty. Yeah, I'm not really sure either, but it ties in well with the moves he's about to get. After choosing a nickname, I decided to check out his moves and maybe teach him some new ones. And boy did I hit the jackpot here. I went ahead and swapped out all of its moves except for Shadow Sneak, teaching it Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and Drain Punch. Now, moving on, we tackle some more story stuff, and just before we get to head out on our wild area adventure, I decided our drip was kinda lacking. So I sold off all the excess items in our inventory, stocked up on healing items, and gave us a little makeover. I tried to take on this Onix, which was a mistake. I just wanted revenge for my first playthrough, but clearly this wasn't the time. But anyway, there isn't really much going on but story throughout this, and we hate story around here. So on to the first gym we go. So Milo here. I thought it would be pretty easy. I found some X attacks outside of the gym and figured out my strategy for pretty much the rest of the game. So first things first, I pop one of these bad boys, taking a hit that doesn't do too much to me, and then go ahead and take out Milo's first Mon with an Ice Punch. In comes his Eldegoss, and I'm thinking, wow, what a piece of cake. I'll just Dynamax and take it out. Well, no, wrong. Well, actually, technically yes, but wrong, as I get too cocky and don't actually Dynamax, get blasted with a crit, and pick up my first loss of this run. Anyhow, coming back for round 2, I've been humbled. So I Dynamax Marshadow and end up taking his Eldegoss off in 2 turns, and he even got another crit here. I see where your head is at, RNGesus. Anyways, next we're on to Nessa. So in this battle, as Nessa does, she leads off with Goldeen. I go straight for the Thunder Punch here and don't actually take it out, but I rectify that in the next turn. In comes Aeroscuda, and I go ahead and smash that Dynamax button as I kinda want to save my last X attack for a later date. I go for the Max Lightning, which kills, but also sets up Electric Terrain, further boosting my already strong electric type attacks. From here, Nessa goes into her ace, Dreadnought, Dynamaxes, and actually lives a Max Lightning. She retaliates with a Max Geyser and sets her Rain and everything up, and then she actually manages to outspeed me on her next turn, which I was not expecting because, you know, it's a giant turtle. But she then hits me with an unexpected Max Darkness, leaving me with 4 HP. I just totally wasn't expecting that one, but I wrapped this battle up with a Max Lightning. And now I have the hiccups. Now that she's out of the way, we've got bigger fish to fry. So Kabu here leads off with his Ninetales. Obviously, I am expecting him to Will-O-Wisp me, because I mean, what else would he do? So I go for the Shadow Punch and it actually misses. Not my Shadow Punch, his Will-O-Wisp, just to clarify. Shadow Punch can't miss. Unfortunately, I'm not out of the woods yet as he brings in his Arcanine, which not only intimidates me, but also has Will-O-Wisp. I decide to use my last X attack here to offset the Intimidate, and his Will-O-Wisp lands. I decide to just heal up a little bit, you know, as he goes for an Agility. Now, I know he definitely outspeeds and will more than likely burn me again, so I decide to bite the bullet and just attack him. So after this back and forth of dealing damage while healing, I decided to just go for the Dynamax and hit him with the Max Knuckle. I may be burned, but I might as well up my attack while I am, you know? So from here he brings in his Ace and I decided to heal, mainly to scout out the damage I'd be taking. After realizing the Butterfly move does next to 0 damage and basically heals me, I decided to use my last turn to go for the Spooky Ghost move and drop his defense a stage. Now at this point it's a matter of heal stalling until he loses his big boy form and I can finish him off from there. That one was definitely a more challenging fight, but as usual, like the Pokemon Master I am, I finish it off and collect my 3rd badge. Next up, I believe is B, or Bea, or as I like to call her, Bay. Wait, can I get an age check? After ping-ponging around this gym, haven't voice cracked in years. After ping-ponging around this gym for ages, I finally reach her. She's going to be leading off with her Hitmontop, which luckily for me it does not have Intimidate. I go for the Force Palm here to get some damage off as she's pretty defenseless with her fighting moves. After taking her Hitmontop down, she brings in Pangoro. At this point, I decide to Dynamax to get some Max Knuckles off for that attack boost that it brings, while Pangoro decides to hit me with a Night Slash and do some major damage. Anyways, I'm now at +2 attack and she brings in Surfetched, which is just going to get a Max Knuckle to the face. She tries to set up in my face with a Swords Dance, so naturally I have to assert my dominance and destroy her. I'm now sitting at +3 attack and she brings in her Machamp. Why did I say that so weird? She brings in her Machamp. I know a Max Darkness from this thing will absolutely wreck me, so I kinda just click on Shadow Punch and pray for the best. Unfortunately for me, that's not the case. I do 2-shot with Shadow Punch, but I was totally expecting the Max Darkness to just blow through my paper thin defenses. I just totally screwed that entire sentence up. Unfortunately for me though, that's not the case. I do 2-shot with Shadow Punch, but I was totally expecting Max Darkness to blow a hole through my paper thin defenses. Speaking of paper thin defenses, up next we got Opal. Get it? Cause she's old. This is one that I was particularly kind of terrified of. Why, you ask? Well, I'm bringing a fighting type into a fairy type gym. And funny story, I actually took another L here, but not to Opal, to one of her gym trainers. Anyways, I ooped and back into battle, Opal leading off with her Galarian Weezing, hitting me with a Fairy Wind while I set up my X attack. I answer her question right and get a nice speed boost. I go for another X attack here because, like I said, I'm terrified of this gym and I'm not playing around. At this point, I pretty much just Shadow Punch everything and am able to one-hit all of her Pokemon. Togetic goes down, Mawile drops to a Force Palm, and we absolutely demolish the cake with some Spooky Ghost chairs. You already know the vibes. So Gordy here leads off with his twin Barbaracle, and in typical theme, I use my X attack. Gordo here goes for the Shell Smash and follows it up with a Razor Shell, leaving me with 10 HP to spare. I take it down and he goes into Shuckle, and everyone knows what you don't do with a Shuckle. So I heal up here as he goes for the most pitiful Stone Edge I think I've ever seen, and just beat it to death. He then goes into Stonejourner, which catches a Force Palm to the face and goes right back where it came from. Already down to his ace, Gordo decides to Dynamax and proceeds to die to my Force Palms. Me too, Gordy. Me too. Now, here's where things take a turn. In order to get into this gym, and for Raihan, we needed to bring another Pokemon. so my plan to end the game with 0 mons caught in the decks was shattered. But it would have been anyway when we catch Eternatus, so just be aware of that. I went outside the city and caught myself a Bergmite, but I can sum my battle up with Pierce in 2 words. Force, Palm. That's it, that's the battle. And then Shadow Punch for Skuntank, but you know, it is what it is. And now it's time for the best gym leader of all time, Raihan. Now, I won't say too much, but I mean, you know, it's Raihan. Anyways, since his battles are all double battles, we have to use this Bergmite we snagged, and its purpose here is just to pretty much die. But I thought up another pro gamer 200 IQ strat, which some people may or may not consider to be cheating, but I don't care, it's my video. So Raihan leads off with Flygon and Gigalith, and I decide to just Ice Punch the Flygon and get it out of the way, while using Bergmite's turn to beef up my attack with, you guessed it, an X attack. I know it kind of breaks a few rules, but this is my game and I make the rules. Anyways, this next turn I Force Palm the Gigalith, Bergmite recovers, and Sandaconda just stares me down with some angry eyes. In comes Duraludon and goes Super Saiyan right in my face, but I take care of that with a Force Palm, actually one-shotting it. I clean up the Sandaconda, and that's it for our boy Raihan here. Now, as for what to do with this next part, I wasn't sure. It's mainly just story that I obviously cleared because here I am standing before Leon. I will say, so far I've died 4 times in this run. We talked about 2 of these times already, but I also died to Hop in the rival battles in 2 separate occasions. What I learned running through this with Marshadow was pretty much if I didn't hit first and harder than my opponent, I was pretty much dead. So taking this into account, I did some work before hitting up Leon. In this run, I only battled those that were necessary, so I didn't do any grinding. I just want to preface this with that. I also pumped my Marshadow full of drugs to make sure I maxed out its attack and speed, and then maxed out its friendship as well. This champion battle was not easy by any means, and I ended up dying quite a few times. I tried a bunch of different strategies, and I won't bore you with the details, but I'd say it took around 20 tries for everything to land perfectly. It was about 2 hours worth of time, but it's all good to know, especially for future videos. So without further ado, let's get right into our final battle, shall we? So Leon leads off with his Aegislash here. I take this time to go for an X attack since I know he's more than likely going to go for a King's Shield, and I need to take advantage of the fact that I get a free setup turn. So I hit him with the Shadow Punch and take down his first Mon. Dragapult is up next, and this was scary because it always seemed to result in a speed tie. I win this one and KO it with a Shadow Punch. Next up comes in Haxorus, and I KO'd that too with a Shadow Punch, probably due in large part to the crit from the Max Friendship. Next in is Cinderace, which I accidentally clicked Shadow Punch on as I meant to Dynamax, but it works out in the end. I decide to use another X attack here as I know I can live a hit and I need to one-shot G-Max Charizard because it's got Max Airstream and that will kill me every time. So after this Toxic here that doesn't actually hit because again, Max Friendship, I G-Max and go for Max Knuckle, putting me at +5 attack. In my previous experience, G-Max Zard would live a hit from +4, so I knew +5 was all I needed to win. And, well, I'll just let me live take it from here. He's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. Yes! Woo! I don't even know how many tries that was. That was above 10. God, I hate this game so much. And there you have it. I beat the game. Please leave a like if you enjoyed to heal my pain, subscribe so you don't miss out, and give me some other Pokemon ideas to do this with in the comment section below. I'm not touching this game for at least another 6 months.